Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for GWBC Radio's Open for Business. Now, here's your host.
Lee Kantor here, another episode of GWBC Open for Business, and this is going to be a good one. Today on the show, we have Simone Merritt, and she's with Enomis Consulting Group. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Lee.
I am so excited to learn what you're up to. Tell us about your firm. How you serving folks?
Absolutely. So, Enomis Consulting Group, we started back in 2020. We are a full-service human resource firm offering small business and new entrepreneurs solutions when it comes to HR, whether that's staffing, payroll. I'm just taking that load off of owners and entrepreneurs as they're continuing to scale their businesses.
Do you kind of have a profile of that ideal client? Who is the exact right fit client for you?
Absolutely. So like I was saying, we like to target young entrepreneurs, not by age, but as in business. So if you are 2 years into your business, that's that startup to 5-year range where you're wearing multiple hats and you're starting to grow and you're like, hey, I need to bring someone on board that can take this off my plate. Maybe I don't have all of the compliance knowledge that I need now that I need to hire staff and offer them benefits and making sure I'm managing them correctly when it comes to employee relations. That's where we come in to offer our services and provide that relief for young entrepreneurs and young businesses.
So you mentioned compliance. Are you active like in healthcare or finance? Like, do you have kind of a sweet spot that you specialize in?
So when it comes to like benefits and compensation, we definitely have HR generalists on staff that specialize in that. Same when it comes to employment law and employee relations. So we really offer all of those services just depending on the need. Employee relations is where I see a lot of people starting off needing our services. Maybe you kind of hired staff on your own and you're running into some legalities that you don't know how to maneuver through. And you're like, I need to bring a human resource professional on that has this background and experience.
So it might be somebody who is a startup or started their business and they had a lean staff, maybe just a few people were involved, and now they've gotten to the point where they're starting to hire, and now dealing with people is getting a little too much for them to handle. That's not what they do best. That's not their superpower. So at that point, that's a good time to contact you or somebody on your team?
Absolutely. There, or, now as you're bringing on more people, you want to offer them benefits. How do you go about that? How do you maneuver through the healthcare and life insurance and the other things that you may want to offer your staff as, perks by being on board with you? So that's where we come in as you're starting to scale and grow.
Is there kind of a number of employees where that's kind of a logical time to bring you on? Like when they get to 5 or they get to 25, like is there a number where like once you hit that mark, you really should be getting an expert involved?
I would say once you get to, anywhere from 5 and up, basically, we're probably using a real payroll platform. We need to start making sure we're doing our state tax correctly or when we're paying our staff. And not just sending Venmos or Cash Apps. Hopefully no one's doing that. Or, even paying people just wiring from your bank. You want to now start making sure you're going about it correctly. Are you paying into the unemployment pool as you should? And are you structured the way you're supposed to be when it comes to having staff?
So what's your backstory? Have you always been involved in this line of work?
Absolutely. My bachelor's degree is in business education. So for the first few years, back in 2011, I kind of was a teacher. Once that school lost its charter, I decided to go back and get my master's degree in HR. I've been in HR since then. So I'm 10 plus years in. I'm very passionate when it comes to being the liaison between employees and higher management. So as a human resource business partner, I like to partner with owners to give them that perspective. They may be removed from being an employee for some time and don't have that same insight that they once had when they used to sit in those roles.
Was it a difficult transition for you to go from kind of working for somebody to, having your own firm?
No, it wasn't. I was put in a very unorthodox and blessed scenario where my previous owner actually encouraged me to kind of go out on my own, create my firm, and offer my services. Being there for over 10 years, he kind of was able to see my growth in HR as I moved up to being senior VP of HR at that company. And he really encouraged me he was like, you have something, you need to share this with others. And he kind of put me in rooms with other owners that he had as colleagues that kind of got me my start and me understanding what my niche would be as I grew my own firm.
So what have some of the challenges been since you've been growing so rapidly?
I would say some of my challenges or challenges that I faced is, new entrepreneurs and owners are, tight when it comes to cash flow and really understanding the importance of having someone to be the liaison, as well as making sure that you're structured properly when it comes to having staff on board. HR can be overlooked and not necessarily prioritized. So making sure to, cultivate those relationships and show the importance of being in compliance and from whether it's recruiting, payroll, or employee relations. So that would be what I would say has been a challenge, an ongoing one.
Now, is that something like what's the pain that your clients are having where they go, you know what, I got to do something now. Like I can't keep kicking this can down the road. And I should call Simone and her team because this is getting silly at this point. Like, is there kind of the first project you have with somebody, or is there a common point of entry when you start working with somebody for the first time?
Most of the time, it's because they are, like I said, wearing too many hats. You've been trying to onboard, do orientation, process payroll, process terminations. And as the owner, and you're trying to scale and grow marketing your business, doing the sales for your business, you're starting to see maybe you're slipping on some things or falling behind and you need it off your plate. So it's like, hey, who can I call that can assist me with this, that understands, has the education in the background, because now I need someone.
And so that first kind of project you work for somebody is what typically?
It could be you bring me on because you need help processing the payroll. Most of the time, it's maybe, hey, you got a big contract or something, and now you need to staff up very quickly. So I need some recruiting assistance, and I need to bring Simone or bring Enomis on to kind of fill the gap for us there. And then most of the time, it just grows and we expand our services from there once we kind of get our foot in the door, provide that assistance that you initially looked for. And it's like, oh, you could do these other things. That'd be great to get those off my plate as well.
So, so sometimes you come in because they need help because they have to staff up quickly and they don't have the contacts or the kind of the resources you have to help them kind of add, 1, 2, 5, 10 people, tomorrow.
Mhm. Absolutely. And again, if you're doing it all as a solopreneur, you may just not have the time and you're like, hey, I need someone that can do this for me while I utilize my efforts as the owner to better scale and grow the business.
And you don't want to make this kind of mistake. Like if you're trying to multitask and do something you're not great at and you got to hire 10 people, a mistake there it
Right.
could be crippling to your business.
You could. You want to make sure you're sourcing the proper candidates. You want to make sure you're onboarding them and orientating them the correct way. How are they getting exposed to your brand and the training for the individual roles? And if you're, negotiating with their client and still out, selling and marketing your business, you may skip a few steps. So that's where you want to make sure you have a professional that is, skilled in that area to come in and assist you.
Now, do you have any advice for the folks who are trying to, maybe they're at the beginning and they want to onboard a new person for the first time? Is there some do's and don'ts when it comes to onboarding a new person?
Absolutely. I mean, depending on the industry and the role, you want to make sure you, as the person onboarding, have done your background on what type of candidate that you need to have. Make sure you have an onboarding checklist and you're identifying all of the things that you need to properly compensate this person. You don't want to be paying them in an inappropriate manner, whether that's cash or, like I said, Venmo or something like that, and you're not tracking what you need when it comes end of year and it's time to do a W-2 or a 1099. I mean, even down to identifying the employment classification. Can you bring this person on as a W-2? Or is it okay to bring this person on as a 1099 as a contractor? And making sure you understand the legalities around, the classifications. I think all of those are very important at the beginning if you're still trying to manage it on your own.
Now, why was it important for you to become part of GWBC? What attracted you to that organization, and why'd you get certified?
I wanted to dive into government contracting. So as I was doing my research, I saw that this organization was in my area in Metro Atlanta. Not only, going through them for the certification for my woman-owned, minority-owned cert, I also saw all of the opportunities and things that they put out for minority women to help grow and scale your business. So whether it's cohorts that are coming out, different grants, different pitch competitions, and even, this opportunity. And I just thought that that was amazing to have a resource that you could utilize, as being a member to gain additional information to help me continue to grow in my industry as well.
So what do you need more of? How can we help you?
I love everything that's out right now. For me, I always love to see more when it comes to funding for small businesses, whether that be from a commercial banking institution or from a grant perspective. But those are always things you never know. That next contract can make you scale up really, really quickly. But do you have the necessary funding to grow your business as quickly as the work may be coming in?
Right. That's sometimes when you're fishing for the whale, you catch the whale. And now what do you do?
Now what do you do? So having that resource, I love to see the emails come through and the newsletters that have something, related to good, healthy business funding. I would love to see more of that.
Now, is there a story you can share about one of your clients that you helped through a challenging time? Maybe you don't have to name the name of the client, but maybe share what problem they had when they came to you and how you helped them get to a new level.
Sure. I've had a client in the past that they were growing their business pretty rapidly. They were starting to they were an attorney, and they were starting to get enough work where I need more staff in office, and how quickly we needed to onboard people, and just being able to, connect with them, understand their brand, and be able to source the candidates that were great, great for them and what they were looking for. And being able to do that in a very short period of time. We had about 45 days before they had a big case and contract coming up. And it was a little challenging, but after we got our initial communication together as far as what they were looking for, the area that we were in luckily had great candidates, and I was able to supply them with what they needed, and they still have a lot of those people on board today. So I feel like that was a good success. It was challenging because of the time frame, but having the retention and the people still being there means that, I feel good about providing them with the service that they were looking for.
So if somebody wants to learn more, have a more substantive conversation with you or somebody on your team, what is the website? What is the best way to connect?
Absolutely. EnomisConsultingGroup.com. We are also on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Same way you can find us. We do free 30-minute consultations to discuss what your needs are and see if we can be of assistance or scale a package for you that best meets your needs.
And Enomis is spelled Enomis.
That's correct. It's my first name spelled backwards.
There you go. Well, Simone, thank you so much for sharing your story today. You're doing such important work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me today, Lee.
All right, this is Lee Kantor. We'll see you all next time on GWBC Open for Business.